Hey everyone! For those of you who don't know, I'm an avid runner, and searching for headphones has always been a struggle. Surprisingly, the AirPods have become one of my favorites, so let's discuss why. The AirPods. These Bluetooth earphones have been rather controversial, at least at first, because of their radical new design, and on how unique they look while you wear them. They just look different, but I think now they are more widely accepted. And I think most have gotten over the radical design and have become fond of the functionality. The AirPods are an engineering marvel for several reasons. Their size relative to their battery endurance and overall sound quality, which we'll cover later in this video. But before we dive into the meat of the review, I want to get a full understanding of the hardware. The case itself only has one button on the back side of it, and that is used to pair the unit with a non-Apple device. But for an Apple device, you basically will never need that button, as simply opening the unit will automatically search for the closest Apple device. Now, once the device has been paired, opening the case at any time will quickly display the battery status of the AirPods and the case. Inside of the case, you have a small LED light that quickly lets you know if the AirPods are charging or are at full capacity. Once the AirPods are removed from the case, that same LED will serve a second purpose, letting you know the battery capacity of the case itself. Green meaning the case has enough capacity to fully charge the AirPods again, and amber meaning it's time to charge the case. The AirPods each have a set of proximity sensors that automatically detect whether someone has placed them in their ears. They also have a double tap functionality for prompting Siri, but you can always customize this within the settings. Also, each AirPod has a microphone, and the AirPods automatically pick one microphone during a phone call. But again, you can customize this within the settings. For sound quality, they are a few levels better than the standard AirPods that are included with every iPhone, and that might not appear too appealing, but considering their size, that is rather impressive. I always find explaining how great something sounds in a video rather difficult, so I will try my best to explain my use case. I find the sound quality to exceed my needs, and my usage consists of listening to music on iTunes, watching YouTube videos, iTunes being compressed music of course, and most online videos are also severely compressed, and that includes YouTube. And I think for those particular tasks, the sound quality is superb. Seriously, considering their size and how portable they are, they really do sound excellent. They don't produce very much bass, but that's to be expected for something this small. And I think considering their size and form factor, they actually produce excellent sound quality, and that is really a highlight in my opinion. The next most important thing is the comfort level. This one's a tough one because all ears are different. So the best test is to simply try the regular earpods that are included with every iPhone and see how comfortable you find those to be. Because in practice, they feel very similar. And I find for my ears, they work just fine, and I usually use them for 1 to 2 hours at a time for workouts, but no longer than that. And if you need them for longer times, you may experience some fatigue, but overall I find them to be relatively comfortable, and having them be ultra light certainly helps. In terms of battery life, the unit actually lasted slightly below advertised, which is still pretty good in my opinion. Apple advertises the AirPods to last 5 hours. From my usage, I get about 4.5 hours. Which is more than enough, and the case provides 4 full recharges. So think of it this way. With the case, Apple advertises that you should get 24 hours. The moment you pull out the AirPods out of the case, you have 20 hours, assuming you use the AirPods until they die. From my usage, I get around 22.5 hours of total time from a full charge, and that translates into charging the case once a week. So from the moment you pull out the AirPods out of the case and use them until they die, you have 18 hours or so remaining on the case, or about 4 full recharges. So the battery life is slightly under what was promised, but still excellent nevertheless. The low battery warning comes in at 10%, and it's a very subtle but noticeable sound, and it will alert one more time right before it completely shuts off. So you get 2 warnings. And that's it. And that's great because most Bluetooth headphones will continuously interrupt with low battery warnings non-stop until it dies, making them virtually unusable during the duration of low battery. Here's a small snippet of what that sounds like. The sound is very subtle and not very intrusive. And if you are ever low and need to charge up, they actually charge up pretty fast. Within 50 minutes, the AirPods can gain well over 50% capacity. They can charge fast because of the very small battery within each AirPod. The case itself is rated at 398 milliwatts, so both are relatively small and can charge very quickly. The W1 chip. What the heck is that? Well, my friends, that is probably the single greatest Bluetooth advancement thus far. Especially for users with multiple devices. It gives you the ability to establish a connection with any Apple device that has the same iCloud account. For example, you could begin using your AirPods with an iPhone and quickly move to an iMac and establish a new connection without having to resync that device again. And it may only save a few seconds, but that ability to hot swap is huge. It has gotten to the point where it is very difficult to consider Bluetooth headphones if they don't have the W1 chip. Heck, I've been eyeing the new Sony over-the-ear headphones, and I haven't pulled the trigger on them solely because of the lack of the W1 chip. But that's only because I have multiple computers, and I also tend to use my headphones with my Apple TV sometimes. I really like hot swapping Bluetooth connections with devices, and the lack of the W1 chip will really hinder my experience. Yes, the AirPods do work with Android devices. However, the W1 chip does not. So the AirPods become a typical Bluetooth headset, but nevertheless, they work. One of my biggest concerns was how well would these hold up against sweat? So before these AirPods, I was using these standard workout headphones. And they were great, but sometimes during heavy workouts, they would stop working because sweat would find its way into the speaker. And it would distort the audio or stop working altogether. And sure, the audio would eventually come back, but it was rather annoying to deal with. The AirPods have no such issue and are sweat resistant and are holding up very well against my running and sweat. So surprisingly, the AirPods can take a sweaty beating without much of an issue. And while running, they feel very sturdy and don't feel like they're gonna fall out. No device is perfect, and these AirPods are no different. One thing I really don't like is that the case itself provides no notification or warning of any kind when the battery is low, and you can only check on the capacity when the lid is open and within proximity of an iOS device. I think maybe something could be added via a firmware update to provide a notification. Maybe that notification can be sent out once the AirPods are removed from the case. And it could be as simple as a low case battery warning, some kind of a notification. That would make it so much easier to keep track of the battery. Currently, I have to remind myself to check the case's battery before I head out. Another small negative is the poor sound isolation. I wish these were made with an in-ear design as it would minimize the amount of audio that leaks out. Previously, Apple's highest end earphones were in-ear, and these AirPods are sort of taking their place, and maybe, just maybe, a similar design can be implemented. So, fingers crossed. And of course, the price is a negative. They are a very expensive Bluetooth set, and I feel like Apple could try and be more competitive. But then again, their entire lineup has increased in price this year. But I'm still hoping that they improve their pricing somehow. And can you please offer these in black? Sure, we can special order them from third-party resellers, but that just makes the price even worse. To conclude, the AirPods are a marvelous engineering feat, and no other Bluetooth headphones come close to their size relative to their functionality, reliability, and ease of use. I've had the AirPods for about a month now, and I've had them randomly disconnect for less than a second, and it really was only a micro interruption, and it hasn't happened since. And sweat really doesn't do anything to them. I've even accidentally dropped them during a workout, and they're still working like champs. Just make sure that you clean them before charging them, because I can see dust and debris accumulating within the case. The AirPods really do feel like magic. You simply open the case and they're ready to be used. And at least for me, I absolutely love that whenever I'm ready for a late night run, they are always at 100% charged and ready to go. And basically, I can run for as long as I need. And I don't have to remember to charge them every night. I just have to keep the case charged at least once a week. Apple did an excellent job crafting these AirPods, and they've really surprised me on how well they worked for running. I honestly didn't believe they would be great for such an activity, but even if you're not going to be using them for working out, they're an excellent all-around earphones that just work. And if you feel like they're going to fall out, you can always get third-party accessories to make sure that you don't drop them. But for most people, that won't be necessary. I really like these AirPods as they work really well, and I recommend them. But first, make sure that your ears are a perfect fit before buying. For future improvements, I hope to see wireless charging, low battery notifications for the case. Further improvements to sound quality are always welcome. Anywho, if you guys are interested in these AirPods, I will link them down below. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button. And as always, I'll catch you guys next time.